Today I'm doing a full face of products that I'm panning. The first product I'll be using is the Anastasia Magic Touch Concealer in shade 1, and you can't really see it in the bottle, but it's very, very low, and I do already have a backup for this, so as soon as this is gone, I will be opening the next one, and when that one's low, I will be repurchasing, because this is just perfection. And I will now be leaving this on my eyes for a couple minutes to dry. I also like to use a pot concealer. This one is the Rem Beauty Concealer in shade Fair 2N, and I am trying to use this one up because it is the wrong shade for me. It is too light, and so sometimes if I use too much of it, it can make me look way too pale, and that's not usually what I'm going for. But I still spot correct with it, and it does work really well for that purpose. But if I were to get it again, I would try to find a better shade match for me. And I will let this dry down too. After the concealer dried for a little bit, I blended it out, and now I'm going to be using the KVD Good Apple Foundation in shade Light 004, and as you can tell, it is very low. I will not be repurchasing this one because it was pretty expensive. I think it was around $40, and I love these foundations from e.l.f., which are $7 and $8 just as much, so I will definitely be sticking with these instead. The KVD one does have really good coverage though, and I did enjoy the shade match. For powder, I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Cosmetics Luminous Powder in shade Do Me, because of course Jaclyn Cosmetics is no longer a brand, and it is almost gone, so I have quite a few of her products actually, and one by one they're exiting the collection. I'm also using a little bit of the ColourPop Translucent No Filter Setting Powder in my T-zone to make sure that I'm not shiny in those places. Okay, I did my brows off camera because I'm not trying to pan those products, and now we'll be going in with blush. This one is by ColourPop, and as you can tell, it has a really big pan in it. I think the shade is pronounced Shea. And this is the blush I've been focusing on for more than a year now. And it's a really pretty peachy blush. I don't have anything that I find wrong with it, but it's just kind of average compared to the other blushes in my collection that I've been loving more recently. So I'm just using this one up. I have a lot of blushes in my collection now. I used to have only like 1 or 2 at a time, and I would just go through them like this. But now I have fallen in love with blush, and I have a bunch of cream blushes and a couple powder blushes, and I think I have 2 liquid blushes now too. And I would love to get even more, like by different brands, different formulas. So I'm trying to get the oldest ones out of my collection. For highlighter, this highlighter is so old, and I would love to have it out of my collection. This is an old Jeffree Star highlighter from the Jawbreaker highlighter palette that they used to have. And I've had it since like 2018, and I would just love if it was gone. It's a very glowy, more subtle blush compared to the other ones in my collection. It's not bad, but I've just had it for so long, and I would love to focus on some other beautiful highlighters that I have in my collection. For eyeshadow primer, I always use P. Louise, and this one has almost nothing in it. It needs to be out of my collection in a second. Like, I'm not even close to sure how many uses I have left in it, maybe even just 1, but I have a replacement, and I will replace it as soon as it is gone. There's enough for at least another look. And I will just blend this out. I like to use a tiny beauty blender to do this. It makes the coverage really even, and I just like how it works. but you could definitely use a brush or your finger or whatever you like to blend out your primer. Now that that's blended out, we're going to go in with eyeshadow. I am using the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette because it is one of the oldest palettes in my collection, and as you can see, I have a lot of pans in it. I think I'm going to use pinks since it is still February, so I'm going to be dipping into Mochi and Bubblegum right now, which both have big pans in them. I put the lightest pink shade Mochi all over in a ring, and now I'm using the darker Bubblegum shade to add some dimension. And then I'll probably use either Raspberry or Black Cherry, which are darker pinks, to add even more. And then I will pick a shimmer to put on. Okay, this one is shade Black Cherry, and it really is a gorgeous shade, and I just haven't used it very often, and I would love to hit pan on every shade in this palette. That would look really cool, but I don't reach for this as much anymore just because I've had it for so long and I love trying new things, so it's a little bit harder to focus on this one than it used to be. Now I'm going to be using the NYX Glitter Primer, which is also almost gone. And I do have another one of these on hand for when I run out. I will switch. And it's empty. It's always so nice opening a new product. And here's the eyeshadow finished, and I'll give you another last look at the palette. I feel like you can definitely see that the purple one is a little bit wider, but that is the palette. I'll be setting my face with the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. I'm not using this up because I don't like it, because I do like it. Coconut's one of my favorite scents, and I love the e.l.f. setting sprays. I've used up a couple already, but I have other ones that I'm waiting to try out, so I'm just using this one up for the time being. It does smell really good. For eyeliner, I'm using the L'Oreal Voluminous Superstar in black, and for mascara, the Maybelline Total Temptation. For the lips, I have quite a few lip liners that I'm currently working on, but today's is the Kylie Cosmetics in the shade Candy K, and it needs to be sharpened. I really like the formula. There's nothing wrong with them. They've just been in my collection since probably 2018, and I would like to try something new. And for lipstick, this is my closest to being used up lipstick in my collection. This is a Jeffree Star lipstick in the shade Celebrity Skin, and I've had this since 2020, I think. And it's a very cool tone nude, so I don't use it every time I do my makeup because it doesn't always go with the eye look. If I had, it would be gone already, but it's still pretty close. And this is the final look. Thank you for watching.